welcome back to Open, and we are continuing Mental Health Awareness Month, and as we do so, we welcome our last guest, a certified sound healing practitioner, sound mystic, and founder of The Inner Ish, a wellness brand devoted to harnessing the power of sound to guide individuals toward inner transformation. It's rooted in the rich traditions of indigenous spirituality and culture. The Inner Ish offers sound bath sessions, guided meditations, and workshops designed to elevate consciousness, alleviate stress, anxiety, and trauma. And joining us now to share more is certified sound healing practitioner, sound mystic, and the Inner Ish founder, Ishkara Heqwabti. Ishkara Heqwabti.
Hi, thank you so much. How are you? You did good.
It's all about honor. And, let's talk about the name because Ishkara Heqwabti is quite the tongue twister. And if I'm not mistaken, my ear rings it to be an ancient word.
Yeah, very good. That's very good. So I went through a traditional African indigenous initiation from an original mystery school given by the Dogon. And they are the preservers of history from ancient Egypt and Kemet, where our ancestors are from. And that initiation was about maybe 2.5 years. And at the end of that initiation, we go through a process, a ritual, a ceremony to be able to ask the earth what this spirit has come to the earth to do. What if my parents were still connected to our culture, what would they know from the community to be able to call me, right? And so it comes in as the seat of the spirit of the great god Ra, Ishkara.
Ishkara.
The seat of the spirit of the great god Ra. So Ish is the seat or a throne, Ka is spirit, and Ra is the god Ra of ancient Kemet. So that's the first name. And then the last name, Heqwabti, will come to mean the authority of the morally pure.
The authority of the morally pure. That is like really, no, I have to take that in deeply because I also, I have a huge appreciation for language and the way it serves humanity in our existence. So, yes, I'm sitting with like every time somebody says your name, they're affirming these definitions that, I wanted to take notes. I was like, Ishkara is...
So it's interesting because you even, to your point, in bringing it back to language, it comes from the original language of Medu, which the Greeks erroneously called hieroglyphics. So that's what we all know Medu as, but the ancients called it Medu. And so that's the ancient language of humanity, the original language of humanity, which we all know as hieroglyphics today. And to your point, the sound, and as we're going to talk about, the sound of the language and those vowels, when someone speaks it, it reaffirms you. It reaffirms that energy that you come with. And it even lets the earth know, like, your presence, like, you're here.
Yes, and I love that we're referencing the earth because the earth is our home, right? It's our collective home, regardless of what part of the world you live in. And it's important that we have these discussions with regards to our relation to it, right? Especially now, with all of the climate issues and not only literally, like metaphorically, because it's all related.
Absolutely.
Right? And the same way it's all related to sound. The same way I want to say, like, as a transcendental meditator, right? One of the things that really captivated me in the practice is coming from that primordial sound of nothing. Right.
Speak about it.
Right. Because
Speak about it.
right. So this is some deep stuff we're discussing right now, and I hope we're not. We haven't gone
Hopefully.
too far, but I'm only bringing this up because in primordial sound, it sounds like it's about sound, but it's not about sound. It's about actually the absence of sound.
Correct.
And the frequency that we all collectively share.
Right. Because, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Because even the sound is there, and I always tell people, sound is there, it's always there. For you to even exist means that there is a sound, right?
Right.
And what happens is we human beings only have a certain range to be able to hear certain frequencies. But what we can hear is what we can hear. But a dog or elephants, we can't hear what they can hear, right? But they can hear what we can hear. So sound is always present, omnipresent. And even in the silence, for you to even be able to hear the sound, it has to exist spiritually first. Nothing can exist physically in our 3D, third dimension, without it existing in the spiritual realm first.
Right. So, okay, so now we're talking 3 dimension and 5 dimension. Okay, I'm sorry we had that. I know, I promise. I said, okay, we're going to try and keep this as simple as possible. However, I think it's important that we do have these conversations so that there's inquiry, so that you become inquisitive and want to explore further.
Correct.
Right? Because we're taught to exist in this 3-dimensional world based on how we're domesticated and how we are to live according to society standards.
Exactly. And I love how you use that word domesticated as regards to human beings, because it's just a plain truth. We are domesticated, right? Because when you think of animals, right, in the wild, they're attuned to nature. They can tell you minute by minute what's going to happen with the weather. We can't do that. We should be able to do that, right? But we're domesticated.
Well, we could if we were living in that
If we were living in that, we were removed from that environment, right? So now we're dependent on instruments and all of this stuff, but technically, we naturally should be able to tune into our environment and know what's going to happen at any given moment. You remember when there was the eclipse last year? Mm-hmm. Did you notice so everyone was rushing out to go and watch the eclipse. Did you notice what the animals were doing? The birds they were gone. Not one bird in the sky. When I saw that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay inside. So now that's now being in this modern society, that's now how we have to take our cues from nature to be able to harmonize with our environment. Because if the animals ain't coming outside during the eclipse, why am I going to be going out? They know better right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm
And that's
with you.
the reverence, like you were talking about, that we should have and that our people normally did have for the earth.
And I in all forgiveness to our environment. No, I'm saying in all forgiveness to ourselves because our environment interferes with it. Our environment, we live in this fast-paced modern society that requires us to be on guard, that requires our senses to operate in a different manner, right? However, we can find balance if we at least consider a simple task like going to the park and hugging a tree. I love encouraging people to hug trees.
Hello.
Because I don't think we do enough of it, and they're rooted in the earth, so it's like a means of really genuinely connecting to earth. But all that to say that what we're discussing is that ability to have a connection to yes, another realm, another dimension, but also to each other, because we're able to communicate without having to even speak like we're doing right now.
Correct.
Like I did with Bubbles,
Right.
Exactly.
Right,
but that's because we have chosen to intentionally exercise that ability because we all have it.
Correct.
Now, you specialize in sound, though. So let's talk about how you found that direction, because I know you're highly trained in vocals, right? And since you were in high school, up until college, and then somewhere in there, you became a vocal healer.
Yeah. So I literally followed my voice. So back in the Virgin Islands, where I was raised, I just grew up singing. That was always my thing. I was gonna go to school for computer science, and my dad was like, "No, you're a singer. You're gonna go to Berkeley." So we did it. That's what I did. And I was in the performance space for a long time. I did off-Broadway, on-Broadway, international, toured with Sister Act in Italy, just all the things performative, right? And that was good. And then my grandmother got sick, and she got sick with Alzheimer's. And during her last stages, she used to always want me to sing to her. Just before she got Alzheimer's, she always wanted me to sing to her. And in her last stages, she was non-responsive. It was so, it was really a lot, right? And I decided one day to sing a hymn, one of her favorite hymns, for her. And she was just laying there, unresponsive. And when I started singing her hymn, her eyes, it started moving, like started squinting. And then she looked at me, and she lifted her head, and she said, "Cam, Cam," and that Camila is my birth name. She's like, Cam. And I was like, I was brought to tears, because how, right? How could this be? And from then, I made it my mission to study sound, like figure out what it is about sound. And funny enough, my uncle told me, like back when I was 5 years old growing up, I always imitated the sounds in nature. So, and I didn't know that. It wasn't a memory I had kept. And he told me that. And I was like, wow. So moving from that, I started studying sound. I got my certification. And when COVID hit, I started doing online, like lives on Facebook and stuff, because I'm also an empath. So I felt like people were going through a lot, and everyone being at home, I'm the type of person, like, I need to do something. I need to help people. And I kind of felt like helpless. Like, what can I do? How can I help these people feel better? And the only thing I could do was my music, was sound. So I took to Facebook and started doing the lives, and it got great responses. And from there, here I am. So I literally just followed my voice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And we're going to get a taste of it. I mean, my hairs are standing. I just want to share that. No, I mean that, because what you just shared was so intimate and so real, and so needed right now with regards to our connections with each other, and to be able to touch people in a way through a vibration. That, for me, is as magical as it gets.
It's wonderful, because sound can heal people in ways that we haven't even discovered yet. And it regulates the nervous system to the point where it just melts away stress. Like, as soon as you hear certain sounds, it melts it away. And it literally, like the vagus nerve, it literally acts to elevate that. When you hear someone say, "Oh, let's raise our vibration," what they're really talking about is raising the vagal tone of your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for your mood, your calmness, all your involuntary actions, which helps to make you feel better. And so now they're starting to treat people with like PTSD and depression and epilepsy with electromagnetic pulses, which is a fancy way of saying like quick vibrations. Well, sound can do that,
right,
because that comes with a lot of,
right,
different issues. But this is what sound can do.
Right.
And so, and our people have been practicing it for years.
Right.
So,
No, I love it. And thank you for sharing that aspect of it, right? Because here, we're not saying, you know, for anybody to disregard whatever the doctor is recommending.
No,
But,
no.
but we're also bringing up the fact that it originated from somewhere. And, you know, if it's accessible, let's just go back to basics,
Yeah.
which is where we are.
and try things out and see what
Yeah.
works.
Yeah. And we're going to try it out. We're going to try it out. We're
I'm
going to get it.
excited.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. Both you and Bubbles altered my mood completely. And I mean in a great way. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it, but we're kind of like flowing now, right? So, on that note, we're going to encourage you to get comfy because when we come back, Ishkara is going to lead us in a soothing sound bath when we return. And you definitely don't want to miss that. Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. At this time, we encourage you to get cozy with us, breathe, and let your stress fade away. Here now to offer a vocal mystic sound bath. Let's give it up for Ishkara Heqwabti.
Just take a deep inhalation in and exhale out. Centering your mind and your thoughts on the affirmation. I surrender my spirit to the serenity of the earth. Continue focusing on your breath and breathe normally. fingers, wiggle your toes, bring your awareness back to your body. When you're ready, inhale, bring yourself up to a seating position. Slowly you can lean on the side, push yourself up with your arm.
I don't even know how to close out after that. Ishkara, Heqwabti, just, whew, she just seriously raised the frequency. So I hope you're feeling the healing energy. And if you're interested in any of her upcoming workshops, you can visit the innerish.com. And bueno, that is our show today, mi gente. And thank you to our guests for joining us, for coming through, and for joining us in this sound bath. Bubbles, Ayana. And you guys, if you missed any part of the show, you can check out the episode throughout the weekend and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Mental health, mi gente, is every day. So take care of yourselves. Namaste.